This episode is brought to you by Me Undies. Underwear drawers are like the Wild West. You never know what you're going to pull out or what shape it's in. So upgrade your collection with the buttery soft comfort of Me Undies. Me Undies' signature fabric is as soft as a warm hug from your favorite sweater. Plus, it's breathable and oh so comfy, making it ideal for all-day wear. Get 20% off your first order, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/Spotify with code SPOTIFY. That's MeUndies.com/Spotify, code SPOTIFY.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
101. I haven't forgotten to record ever in my life, ever as a producer, and I don't want today to be the first day.
I've forgotten. I've done whole podcasts, but then haven't recorded.
Have you? Because you're pretty regular with your show.
I do. Yeah, we do ours, and then other people's. I did Brett Goldstein's podcast about films to be buried with, and we recorded it live with an audience and didn't hit record.
Are you joking?
No. So yeah. And we'd traveled out of town to do it and everything, but
fuck. It's funny in those. I mean, has that ever happened in your? I mean, that is your professional life, but has that happened in other parts of your professional life where that kind of thing, you know, like the thing wasn't printed, or like you went to the wrong town that was called the right town, wrong state.
Wrong town, I haven't done. That's extreme, but I definitely things like that. Or one time, I was already so nervous and in way over my head. I was about 20 and I was doing a televised sort of variety show thing, and I had my little set, and then the sound fucked up. So I went out and did it, and then had to go back and do the exact same set again for the same audience, and they'd already heard it, so they weren't laughing, and it was brutal. Yeah. Where are you? Are you in London?
Yeah, I'm in Deptford.
Nice.
Which I love. I grew up in Watford.
Okay.
And, which is basically London, right? But it took me 10 years after moving out when I was 18 to actually find a neighborhood that I love.
Yeah.
And Deptford's the one. But I mean, London's hard, as you know, right?
Yeah, very hard. And Deptford south?
Yeah, southeast.
Yeah.
It's so funny though, because we're one stop from London Bridge, and I'll invite people and they'll be like, that might as well be France.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, people just hate leaving East London.
I know. And also people that I rarely went south of the river in 12 years there. I didn't, I'd stay right along the river, but yeah, I think I lived everywhere. I started in Shepherd's Bush, and then I was everywhere. Clapton and Stratford and Mile End and Islington, and yeah.
You've been working in comedy since you were a young teenager, right? And by this point, I imagine you feel like you've lived a few lives doing that.
Yeah.
And now you're releasing your first album of music.
Yeah.
I mean, you only learn by fucking trying it and accepting that. And I hope you don't, I hope you don't mind this is too blunt, but we all do it. You try something and you have to accept it for what it is. And at some point you have to press send on the album pressing, and you're like, is it exactly what I wanted it to be? I'm not sure. Because I played in bands as well, and I know that feeling, and it's kind of fucked up when you spend all your money on it and all your time.
Yeah.
Where are you spiritually right now before I'm a TV comes out? I'm
super proud of it, but also it's a totally new language I'm trying to learn and new skill set. So I definitely, even by the ending, or by the end of making it, there were new songs I wish I could put on it, and I was getting braver and experimenting. So but that's the same with stand-up. You record your special and you're like, I wish I'd said that instead of that.
Yeah. Is there a solution to that?
No, you just keep going. Yeah. Yeah, you just keep going. But I am excited, but it definitely...
The songs sound great.
Thanks. It feels like a bigger pivot to, I think, from the outside than it feels to me, because I've been writing songs and being, earnest and emotional in my bedroom forever, but it's just sharing them is super scary, and playing them live. Like when I first started doing stand-up, my voice would shake and I was so shaky, and I've like finally got over that, and I feel super confident doing stand-up, and now I'm like back to square one. My voice shakes. I get so red. I just gotta get my 1,000 hours in. And
is that kind of a nice feeling though? Knowing like I've got such like a long road ahead, and it is what it is. You can't really, there are no shortcuts. There are no smoothies you can drink in the morning to get all your nutrients.
I know. I mean, I must be into it in some way because I keep doing it. But it's so different because like with stand-up, you can bail on a joke halfway through, or you can get laughs from being sloppy and doing new stuff, but you can't. You have to commit to a song. Once you start the song, you're in it. You can't be like, never mind, guys.
Yeah.
So
do you know what it kind of reminds me of? Did you ever get into Coconut Records, which is Jason Schwartzman's thing?
No.
Oh damn! You got to check it out. Right after this, you got to check it out. They got this song called West Coast, and it's honestly, I think it's like a disease of a pop song. It's really, the best kind. And the music video is sick. It's Spike Jonze directed.
Oh, nice.
And Mark Gonzalez, the skateboarder's in it. It's fucking sick.
I love Jason Schwartzman.
It's all, and I think your songs capture that. It's like there's like a bit of a One Tree Hill vibe for me. A bit of like the OC soundtrack vibe. Where it's like,
how old are you?
33.
Okay. So similar. There's like definitely a nostalgia. I had, because I was, the time that I fell in love with music obviously was my teens. That's when I was like lit on fire. And so there's definitely a kind of, hopefully like a warmth and nostalgia. I think maybe the expectation whenever was that it was going to be folk singer-songwriter stuff, but I listened to bands and indie stuff, so that's what came out.
I mean, I don't think I believe in like nostalgia. Like good music's just good music, and it stays that way forever. Like Death Cab, Death Cab will forever like just kill me. Same with Jeff Buckley.
Right.
I think of that record Grace just all the time, and you feel so shook as a teenager. The Shins, just feel shook by that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. For me, a ton of Canadian bands as well, like Broken Social Scene, and tons of stuff. Sam Roberts. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that stuff.
Yeah, it felt like I really, having been in London for so long and then moving to LA, I was reconnecting with the kind of unironic North American inside me. There's like an earnestness there that I had to suppress.
Is that like
in England?
It's like a bit of a trip to like reconcile that. Like you have this comedy inside of you, and you've got the British thing. Yeah, and then like songwriting so out there.
I hope my main thing is like that it feels like a kind of natural extension of like that. I feel like myself, and that people who like my stuff won't feel like I'm pretending to be some rock star, because I'm definitely not. It's just they're just personal, and hopefully it sounds authentic. Yeah,
I think there's enough context out there. I did an episode with Tim Heidecker, and he like pushes that by doing a show where he's doing both. He's doing this earnest songwriting, and he's doing this guy who'll take the piss out of everything. Yeah. And he gets away with it.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I mean, the live shows, I'm sure I'm going to be telling stories and making fun of myself, I think, quite a bit.
These live shows, you got Los Angeles, Toronto, New York, and then London at the Kentish Town Forum. Yeah. Are they going to be your first live shows?
Yeah, well, I do a monthly show at Largo and a comedy show, and I've always had a musical guest and done a duet with them. And usually I do like Elliott Smith songs, or because there's a connection with Elliott Smith in that venue. His piano is there that he played, and he was friends with the owner. So and he's like my guy, my teen idol. So we usually do Elliott Smith songs, but these are the first kind of full with a band shows. We on this past Saturday we did like 4 songs at Largo, and it was fun. But it's slow progress. Like I was too scared to stand up for a while, so I was sitting down, and then now I can stand up. And
Yeah. Well, hey, you're not gonna forget these times unless you black out. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unless I become Pete Doherty and like.
That's it.
Yeah.
Go on. Have you spoken to any musicians about this record? I mean, and you made it with Charles Watson.
Yeah, he produced a couple of the songs and was so encouraging. I think that was such a huge part of why I made the album, was making me feel good. And he did the soundtrack a lot of the score. And so because we're close, I would go and sit in the studio with him. And it was the first time that I felt like I had opinions about music and production. And I played guitar on some of the score of Feel Good. And he was just so supportive. And so yeah, he came over. And when I first moved to LA, a lot of my friends here were musicians rather than comedians, like old Canadian friends. And that in England, I was almost exclusively hanging out with actors and comedians, but LA, it was, more music. So
hanging out with people who are like, fuck, how do you make a living doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. 101 part-time jobs, 101 part-time jobs. This show's called. And it's that. It's like, how do people put their art, music first and fucking survive and make some kind of sustainable career?
Oh, it's insane. This whole other skill set that you now need to have as well with like TikTok and like and technical stuff. And it's a skill set for sure. That doesn't seem like it should have to go hand in hand with making art, but
my mum's an author, and she's always like tagging stuff wrong, or like she'll put like a mad beat on like a TikTok song by accident. But but people are like multi hyphenates. I think that's kind of, it's a weird thing. I feel like people are catching up to this. It's like the technology moved quicker than any person, right? So it feels like we're always like trying to catch up with what's next and find your audience in doing that.
But I just started doing these paintings of animals in strange situations. And I, again, like music, when you start a new thing, there's a big gap between your taste and your ability. And but the more I paint these animals, the more confident I get. But yeah, like you're saying, I'm like, okay, now I got to try and monetize these animal paintings, because I'm like,
That's brilliant.
Where did that make ends meet?
Where did that come from? The animals in strange situations. What kind of situations?
Like it'll be, there's a monkey in prison talking to his lawyer, and his lawyer's bored, things like that. It's I don't know. It came over me, and now I'm addicted. I'm going to do it tonight.
How long ago? When did that start?
Like in the past 6 months. I don't know. I had a breakup, and it was like the only thing that. It was very soothing to sit with the colors and And you know what? My dad is similar. My dad just started making puppets like in the past few years, and he's a writer, and just suddenly he's like, I'm actually a puppet maker. And I admire that.
Fucking why not?
Yeah.
And I guess like, what's the other option? And do you know what? I don't know if this is like the right way to think about it or not, but coming from a family where like one of my parents was an artist, writer, and the other parent was like a solicitor.
Oh wow!
It's like they're like two worlds, right? And I feel like I'm probably wrong thinking this, but I feel like you kind of in one world or the other. And I feel like if you're in the artist world, you do different stuff. Like the world moves so quickly around you. You might as well change with it, I guess.
Yeah, and you're just processing information, and it's coming out in different mediums, I guess. But I don't know. It's always amazing to me when I hear about like there's a singer in the UK called Ajamal, and he is a pediatrician, like a doctor as well. And then in his spare time, he's this incredible musician. But it's amazing when people are true multi-hyphenates. Like that's a real mix.
Good on them. Could you have ever done that? Did you go? Cause you kind of went full send into comedy, right?
Yeah, I never went. I didn't finish high school or go to college or anything. But I've always. I thought I would. I went to shiatsu massage school for 2 years, and got my diploma, and then never used it. But I'd like to work with teens in rehab. That's what I love to do. Yeah, I think I could be good at that.
We don't have to talk about it, but did you have a similar experience with that?
Yeah, I went to rehab. Yeah. And it was just, there were these amazing like counselors in there, and it was also just, teens are hilarious, and it was like, very intense, but it was also very fun and interesting, and I met such interesting people. But
I think when you're a teenager, you the people that you meet have like such a pivotal effect on your life, and the things that you're exposed to, good and bad, right, are just so powerful,
so intense. There's so many firsts, and I can't let go of anything or anyone. That's my problem. So like I'm still in touch with my grade 1 teacher, and like I have so many people that I'm still in touch with from that time. Yeah.
That's good. Do you find yourself like writing about that? Like, did you find yourself songwriting about particular places and times?
There's a song on it called Garbage Strike that is about a really specific moment in time. In 2003 in Toronto, it was a summer I got kicked out of the house, and it happened to be the summer where there was a garbage strike in the city and a blackout on the whole eastern seaboard, and like record-breaking heat. So it was really surreal and visceral. It was like piles of trash on the street, and this heat wave, and then a blackout, and people rioting and looting and stuff. So I wrote a song called Garbage Strike about that summer. Yeah. So that's a really specific nostalgia.
Are there particular bands you want to play with, or people you want to support, like worlds that you see yourself in?
So many people, yeah. I mean, I love Half Moon Run, who are a Canadian band who did music on Feel Good as well, and then Leif Volbeck, who's a Canadian artist. But there's tons of people. Yeah. I'm obsessed with Fontaines. And they're friends, and I'm so embarrassed to be around them, knowing that I've tried to put an album out, because they're just so brilliant. But
you could never compare, and I'm sure like they would say that it's like you just can't compare. It just doesn't work like that.
Well, in general, I think like with comedy, there's just this immediate metric of whether you've succeeded when you're on stage. It's, did you get the laugh? But with music, it's so subjective that I feel a little more at peace with it, because I know there's music that's objectively great that I don't like or wouldn't listen to, even though I can see that it's great music. You know what I mean? It's so personal, and to do with your inner palette that was forged when you were an infant or something. I don't know what it is.
For sure. I mean, I think it's great that you can have such a personal connection with like a record, and for someone like you, like you've kind of like, you captured the UK with Taskmaster. I mean, people fucking love that show, don't they?
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, I've seen every season. Yeah,
that's great. I mean, did you feel like after being on that, did you feel like a bit of a wave of love?
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, it's funny. People know me from all different things, and so they come to live shows with like different expectations. But the Taskmaster fans are really a uniquely passionate contingent. Yeah, and even in America, like people love that show, and they'll show up and want to ask me about Greg Davis. So that's great. Yeah, I wish that was my full-time job, just doing that show. All I ever want to do is complete tasks, and like it's so satisfying and stressful and great. Yeah.
Did you get to the end of these projects? And I guess the album in itself, but you got the shows to look forward to. But I mean, with Wayward coming out, and like shows you've worked on and be so involved in, and talking about multi-hyphenates, I mean, you can write in it, act in it, produce it, direct it. That's a bit of an art in itself, right?
Yeah, I didn't direct it, but okay. Yeah, it's Wayward's been like 5 years of it. So much of it. Everything seems to be just, can you stick with something and see it through to its completion? Because there's so many hurdles and so many moments to abandon ideas and things. That's always, the main thing is just sticking with it. But that's been a big one. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm editing it right now, so I'm remotely editing it there in Toronto. Yeah. And then soon we'll do like the sound mix, and it's crazy.
Are you super hands-on with it then? Like you're saying like timing wise, if there's like a scene a beat too long or a beat too short, that's the kind of stuff you'll edit?
Yes, and that's so musical in a way. That's all rhythm, and this is a thriller, so it has a totally different rhythm to comedy, and that's been a whole other language. That genre has like a real math to it, it's and big jump scares and stuff. I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Sick.
Do you watch horror?
Yeah, but I have this thing with TV and movies where like I love watching it, like, but it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I forget what things are called, and I forget.
Yeah.
The one that made the most indelible impression recently is it Barbarian?
Oh yeah. I loved it.
With the basement, and is it Justin Long?
Justin Long and one of the Skarsgårds, and
the Skarsgårds are great, and like it's just the teeth, it's the giant teeth that you don't really forget that.
Teeth. Yeah, that will stay with me. Yeah,
it's fucking good. It's fucking good.
Yeah, it was so original. I loved it.
Last night I watched A Different Man.
Oh, I've never seen it.
Which is good.
Oh, yeah.
It just came out.
I'm watching the new season of Severance, and I rewatched season 1 and was just like, it has no business being that good. It's so good. It makes me feel lazy because every line of dialogue is brilliant.
I think they did that first scene where he's running through the corridors. He said it took them 8 months to make that.
That's
which
crazy.
I find it hard to believe, but then
that can't be true.
You're doing great. Like your career is fucking sick. You do loads of great, interesting, cool, funny, interesting stuff.
Thank you.
Do you still look at other people and you're like, damn, that's good. Like, how can I be better?
Yeah, I'm fueled by like, not by jealousy, but by admiration of my peers. I'm such a fanboy. Like I still go and see comedy when I'm not doing it. And even like I just did a show on Saturday and Jenny Slate was doing it, who created Marcel the Shell, and like, she's just so brilliant. She's written 2 books, but I was watching her set thinking, fuck, I'm like inspired. Yeah. And all I care about is the approval of my peers as well. It's like, that's a real scary thing.
I guess there's like there is a line, right, between like seeing something and being like, oh my God, that's so good. How could I put that in my lens? Between that and like being like jealous.
Yes, yeah. Or wanting to copy something. Like the dream is that you see something and you're just inspired by that person's authenticity. It makes you want to find your own. Mm-hmm. I love that all. I have a hard time sometimes watching, like when I made Feel Good, I couldn't watch Fleabag until I was finished making Feel Good, because I was like, there's a similar genre and I just know I'm going to love it. And I'm so worried that the rhythms of it are going to somehow penetrate my brain. And so I had to wait till I was done. And then I loved it. And of course they're so different, but it's because everyone was sort of,
both great in their own right. But it is, like we're only like human. So if we watch something, it's going to like get laid in our subconscious a little bit.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Were you listening to other stuff when you were writing and recording this record?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What was I listening to? Have you heard Andy Schauf?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It brought the oboe into so many people's lives.
Yes, yeah. I loved that album with the magician on it and at the party. And that's the first thing that came to mind. But because I had just moved to LA and I had all this time by myself. And so I was, there's a lot of nostalgia going on. A lot of Third Eye Blind and Canadian stuff.
Doing tips up until my nose.
Yeah.
How old were you when you learned what the lyrics meant on that song?
Oh man, I remember listening to the CD over and over to memorize the lyrics, and
it's pretty life-changing, that, isn't it? Being a musician, I mean, there's not money in it. There's like, how do people survive? How do people get through it? And like, I guess that's what this show is all about. And everyone's got different lives doing it.
Yeah.
You've got comedy. So I suppose you don't have so much of the pressure to be like, okay, if I don't make, a living doing this, I don't fucking know what I'm going to do. But
I'm super lucky in that respect to have at least some built-in audience. That is, I'm so aware of what a privilege that is. And
you worked for it,
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
But then people also work for it and it doesn't happen. It's like you can't really.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And same with comedy. I mean, there are comedians that I know who are my favorite comedians of all time and have just struggled to break through for whatever reason. I don't know. It's but yeah, I think these days people getting your song on a TV show is a big thing, right? That's like, but I'm learning all about like,
you could do that
this
for yourself.
Whole new world. Yeah, right. Actually, because I'm at that stage exactly with Wayward, but I had to be really honest with myself that these songs don't fit in that soundscape, and I was like, damn, because I obviously would love to do that, but I couldn't find a place for them just because it's set in 2003, the show, and we have a lot of 70s, like 1970s needle drops, and then we have this Twin Peaksy score, and so it wouldn't have worked, but it was really tempting to shoehorn in. Although it would be weird to have me playing this character and then my voice also, but it would be weird.
That's a lot to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, talking about jobs, you worked in call centers, you worked like doing the ticket stubs, you worked with kids with special needs or different needs. I mean, like,
how do you know all this?
I think just reading, a bit of research.
Nice, yeah.
Bit of research.
True. I worked in a pizza place, doing the graveyard shift from 6 p.m. till 4 a.m. every night.
Who's buying pizza? Well, actually, I know exactly who's buying pizza at 3
Yeah. And people like you and people coming out of bars like hipsters in Toronto. Yeah.
Is it hard to like, because you work those jobs to pay rent, right? And you moved out pretty young as a kid. Did you have that like fear? Did you have the money fear?
Yeah, I still have it. That's why I'm sort of like, because I was broke for so long. I mean, really really eating like Mr. Noodles for years. And so that's why I feel like comfortable talking about money, because I feel like people who have always had money or grow up with it or loaded or like are weird about it. But I'm like, we should all be transparent about it and help each other out, because it's just like learning math or something. It's really stressful, and
it's helpful to know how other people do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I think that's like the headline. Like, how do people do it? Why it's not such a secret?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like I don't have a car or anything, and I spent a long time like just being so afraid to spend any money because you don't know when the next check is coming. But yeah. At this time in your life, can you like put some stuff away and like be comfortable? I mean, in a way, like you say, I know people who that fear has never gone away, even though I'm pretty sure they're going to be okay. But that worry is so deep, man. Like, yeah. Well, I'm 38, and I bought a house in LA, and that was like, it was all my money, and now I'm back to being but it's great. You just have to remember, like, I still have that money. It's just in a house, but
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that was an emotional moment because, like, I was a sketchy teen, and I remember sleeping outside for like a week in my teens. Like, it's nice to have a solid base. But then LA lit on fire as soon as I bought the house. So I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just one earthquake or fire away from. Yeah. But yeah, I'm super lucky and pumped. That was because of Wayward this year.
Yeah, awesome. And like, I mean, I've always wondered, like, with bands, I mean, you read about how like Iggy Pop would be like homeless because the checks wouldn't come through for the Stooges for like a year, or things would go up and like. Do you get paid like quickly? Do you get paid? Is it like more of a long? How do you like budget for being an actor or doing comedy stuff? How does that work?
Well, I mean, I'm still learning that's why I had to buy the house now, because you just never know. Like, if I had an injection of money for making this show, but then I might never make another show again. It's all so iffy. I mean, anyone who is an artist knows it's like, trying to plan a vacation and not being on salary or having time off it's a really, and being self-employed, you're just sort of, it's intense. Wait, what was the question? I'm rambling.
Oh, I think it's like how you like budget, like, if you're getting paid sometime this month and you don't know after. I mean, now you're playing music, you're not going to get anything for that. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm learning all about like royalties and things. It's all super interesting learning about that stuff.
I mean, that's a good point. Do you feel like you've learned like loads about the industry? I mean, you must have had a couple of like managers and agents. I feel like it's obviously like a smart idea to like, you know, to try and learn as much as you can. But obviously, maybe sometimes you don't have the time to do that. What's your story been on like learning the industry and how to make the most of what you got?
I used to get that thing, you know, when you're a kid and your parents try to explain like long division to you or something, and you got like a lump in your throat of like, but it doesn't make sense. Like I would get that anytime anyone talked about taxes or anything, and so I'm just slowly getting over that. But yeah, I'm still learning and always learning. And I always like if I'm on set, I make an effort to talk to all the departments and try and learn and learning production has been super. It all helps, like if like learning the technical side or about production or budgets helps you creatively as well, because then you have that in mind when you're writing. And yeah. And and everyone knows it since like the writers' strike, and things are like so much more accountable or transparent as they used to be. I feel like with like TV and music, and it's like if you can pay one person to do the job instead of two or three, that's more likely to happen, right? Yeah, I'm learning. Like I was just reading that James Blake is talking a lot about like launching a new sort of way for artists to make more work. Yeah, it's just super interesting, and I think things like that are going to start popping up in the same way that any kind of, what do you call it, gig economy, like the way Uber is, you know, like people who are cutting out the middleman.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because I feel like that bubble's burst of all like the old dudes in suits being like, we know how it works and you don't, so we're going to get paid for it. Everyone knows how it works now. Or at least the basics.
Mystery. Yeah, exactly. That's so true. Yeah.
Hey, Mae, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. You're a busy guy. You're busy.
Thank you.
You're doing a lot. What you got going on today?
Well, as you can see, I'm building, like I've got contractors here. I've got like the walls falling apart. I've got there's flooding in the back house and mold and stuff. So I'm dealing with house stuff at the moment. But no, I'm jumping right into the edit. So yeah.
Hell yeah. And actually, do you know Stephen Fretwell, the songwriter?
Yeah.
He's got an album called Busy Guy, which is fucking great, actually.
That's a really great combination of words. Yeah.
And I think it's like an irony thing because he wrote the soundtrack to Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, no way.
And he called the record that because he said all he would do is go to the pub at lunchtime and do the crossword. And he'd be like, I'm a busy guy.
It doesn't matter how busy I am, I do find time to do the crossword every day. I do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I have like the New York Times app, and I do that every day.
You're good at it, are you? Do you reckon?
Like anything, slowly getting better, you know?
Just to end with, I'm a big fan of like the work fuck up and a worse day at work, you know?
Oh.
And, you know, one of those days that you just want to end. Have you had many of those? I mean, doing comedy, I suppose the whole thing's like a bit of a throw at the wall thing for years, but are there any particular days, comedy or music or regular quote unquote stuff
That's a great question.
Putting you on the spot
like so many, I don't even know where to start. Like, I mean, with comedy, I've been doing stand-up 25 years, and so there have been some really bad shows for sure. And the thing that just popped into my head was I did a mini tour in Eastern Europe, and I don't really know how I got booked for it or who had heard of me, but I got flown into Serbia, and comedy is such a new thing there, stand up, and I just bombed so hard show after show, and then I remember being in a car with like a bunch of Serbian comedians, and they were driving me into Latvia and Lithuania to do this tour that no one had asked for or wanted me there. I don't know why I was there, but we were in the car and they were smoking cigarettes with the windows rolled up in the car, and they were passing around this bottle of like plum liqueur, and I just thought, kill me. I was like, how did I get here? You know, so nauseous. Yeah.
It's funny when, you know, you could be doing something that you wanted, you know, you wanted this.
Yeah.
And you're there and you're like, I'm so lonely.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what popped into my mind. Being on these windy European roads with the smell of this plum liqueur. That's
really funny. Really funny. Hey, good luck with the house, and hope to see you again soon, and good luck with the album. Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps.